Hey guys, okay, so I just wanted to continue this series on metabolic damage. This is part 3, and this section I'll be talking a little bit more in detail about how I went about recovering my metabolism. I think I'm gonna have to separate this video on recovery into a few different sections. I'm gonna basically talk about the first steps I took initially to repair my metabolism, to become happy again, to find balance. In my previous videos, I talked a lot about, how extreme my prep was. There was no fat, very low carbohydrate, a lot of cardio, and not a lot of food. So again, all of that amounted to me damaging my metabolism, falling into a depression, gaining about 65 pounds, and then spending these last 3.5 or so years kind of repairing my body. Okay, so one of the first steps that I took was stopping cardio. And as you know from my previous videos, I was doing at least 2 hours of cardio every day, and on the 7th day I was doing about an hour. This was really hard. I mean, I had ingrained in my head that in order for me to lose weight, I would have to expend 2 hours worth of calories on cardio. And that in itself was very difficult. I think some of you can relate to the thought process of I have to burn calories to lose weight. At the stage that my body was in, I was doing actually more damage to myself when I was continuing to do fasted cardio, hours of cardio. I just kept prolonging my journey to becoming recovered. So the sooner that you can actually taper off your cardio, the better. If you're coming off of prep and you're doing 2 hours of cardio right now, I would not suggest cutting 2 hours completely off. Again, it's something that you have to taper. You have to slowly remove minutes of cardio each day so that your body doesn't adversely respond.
Cutting back on exercise, both weight training and cardio, will allow your body the adequate time to rest and recover. This is a very crucial step in regards to you healing your metabolism. Again, cutting it out completely may lead to more anxiety and potentially a quicker weight gain. So be sure to work with your coach, take notes as to how you're feeling, and again, just slowly taper off from cardio.
So the next thing I will talk about is support. Having a strong supportive system is crucial when you are recovering from something like this. Finding someone that will believe in you, that will listen to you, that will work with you, that will support you. I mean, all of those wonderful things that you can think about in a friend, I would say find that in your coach. I have been fortunate enough to come across Marc Santos, who's my coach currently, and he helped me throughout this entire process find myself again, find happiness again. And yes, I lost weight along the way, but something that I'm so thankful for is basically finding a coach that believed in me, that was confident that I would achieve my goal, but above all else, just worked with me. I think that is rare to find in a coach, and I also had great friends. I mean, there's something to be said about the friendships that I have and how they were there for me in spite of my weight gain. Through this entire journey back to finding balance, back to, repairing your metabolism, you need people there to support you along the way. I'm a personal trainer, and I had attended a course by Z Health called Sustenance and Spirit. And this course was so powerful in the sense that it helped me understand what was happening to my body physiologically. I kept blaming myself for a lot of what was happening. Why was I gaining weight? Why couldn't I stick to a plan? Why couldn't I stick to my meal plan? Why couldn't I work out? And there was a lot of, of this negative thought process that continued to cycle through my head. And I attended that course. It was just eye-opening. It just gave me a different perspective on what was happening to my body. It helped me understand that on the neural side of it, again, it goes back to that fight or flight response where all my body wanted to do was fight for survival. It took me 3.5 years to recover, and it probably took me that long because I spent probably the first half of that 3.5 years being very stubborn. I tried working out. I tried to go back on prep. I tried to train for other shows, but I was not healed on the inside. Like, my body still recognized my metabolism as being burned, as being, you know, in such a threatened state that it needed me to not do anything. It needed me to eat more food. It needed me to gain 65 pounds. I also met with one of the coaches at Z Health, and she had just mentioned to me that, like, that it was not my fault. It was not my fault that I had gained this weight. Yes, I had decisions that along the way led me to the rebound, and there was no point in me continuing to beat myself up as I was trying to repair myself. So that just felt like a huge weight off of my shoulders, understanding that I could stop blaming myself for the things that were happening to my body. She also mentioned something to me that was very powerful, that your body does have a happy weight. It has a weight that, you know, we fluctuate maybe 5 to 10 pounds above or under, and but we always kind of settle around the same weight. And she and I just discussed that, you know, my happy weight was still neurologically programmed into my nervous system. So she just gave me a little bit of confidence to know that I kind of had to be a little bit more patient, a lot kinder to myself, and just understand that this was going to take some time. In combination with Z Health, I also started to research. I always refer to Layne Norton and all of his videos. Please watch his videos. Please read his articles. I mean, it is something that gave me hope. It gave me hope that I was going to be better eventually. So the more that you can educate yourself about what is happening, the more that I think you'll understand exactly why your body is doing what it is doing and why it potentially won't lose the weight. And that, for me at least, to understand what was happening gave me so much more confidence to know that I was going to eventually be okay, that I was going to lose the weight, that I was going to be happy again, that I was going to be able to work out again. One of the last topics I do want to talk about is mindset, a mindset shift. So, you know, what had initially attracted me to competing was, you know, obviously challenging myself, pushing myself far beyond what I knew I was capable of achieving. But again, with all of that kind of competitive nature, you know, it further emphasized or manifested in a way of me pursuing this perfectionist attitude or perfectionist mindset. So the mindset shifts that I'm talking about is I had to change my thought process around how I was going to continue to live my life. I had to understand that I was going to make mistakes, that failure happens, that, you know, I wouldn't live my life according to a specific plan and do it perfectly. I had to let go control of a lot of things. I had to let go of the fact that my body was going to gain weight, even if I ate clean. So there was a lot of exercises that I worked with my coach with. Every day, every week, we had a new exercise that slowly amounted to me letting go of perfection, letting go of being so hard on myself, also letting go of essentially wanting to compete again. Because competing to me was something that, yes, I was very passionate about, but does not define who I am as a person. It doesn't define what I want to do with my life. It doesn't define what I want to do with my career. It was definitely a stage in my life that I was very passionate about at one point, but understanding that that wasn't who I was. And again, I'll talk a little bit more in detail about certain mindset exercises that I worked through that, again, eventually amounted to me detaching my self-worth from my physical body. And, you know, as a competitor, you know that competing is all about your physical body. So you look great, you get a ton of feedback. People are saying you look so lean. How did you do that? I want to look like just like you. You're so inspiring. And it's feeding this process or this thought process that I am only worth what I look like or how much I weigh. And that was something that I had to continue. And to this day, I still continue to work on that. I also had to make the shift away from exercise. It was cutting out cardio, you know, and I was doing a ton of cardio. And I didn't know what to do with my time. I mean, breaks that I had in between clients, I didn't know what to do. And one of my closest friends used to joke around with me and say, well, put kettlebells in your car, drive to the park, bring them out, and then sit next to them and read. And that was part of my workouts. You know, I would occupy my time with reading, with researching, with picking up hobbies, filling my time with things that were more fulfilling for myself as a person, and not necessarily myself as Alyssa Chang, the figure competitor. So again, that shift away from having to expend calories, from having to do cardio every day so I could lose weight or maintain my weight. Those were things that you have to slowly work at, understanding that they will eventually amount to you healing yourself and getting yourself back to where you were. You know, your mind and the thoughts that you feed it, they definitely manifest in your behavior, in the way you treat yourself, in the way you treat others, in the way you live your life. And so, you know, when I was in the middle of my rebound, I was constantly thinking negatively. You know, I would still weigh myself, and I would look at the scale and see that scale just keep climbing, and it would ruin my day. And I'm sure there are people out there that can relate to that. The scale kind of dictating your mood, dictating how you're gonna carry out the rest of your day. And that was something I worked on. And I had to slowly understand that that number was never gonna amount to who I was. My worth in this world as a person, if I was 170, if I was 112, has nothing to do with who I was. And that again takes practice. And just to recap, it's listening to your body and essentially stopping a lot of the slow, steady cardio, and any kind of hard, intense weight training program that you may be on. Your body needs rest. The second one is, you know, finding a very strong supportive system. You know, having great friends and a fabulous coach will help you get better sooner. And the third one, you know, educating yourself. I will link those articles. I will also put my coach's information below. And the last one, you know, the mindset aspect of this whole journey, being more forgiving of yourself, understanding that, you know, perfect doesn't exist, that you'll make mistakes, but mistakes will give you more information along the way as to how you can make a better decision going forward. Again, I'll elaborate more on each of those steps, and I'll go more into detail about each of those, because there's a lot to talk about in regards to how you recover. But as always, how I end these videos, there's hope. And my goal is, again, to just educate you a little bit more from my personal journey of how I damaged it, how I went about damaging it, and how I recovered. It takes time, but there's hope. Okay, so that's all. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all my friends, all my fellow coaches. Thank you to Marc Santos and to my best friend Will, who's been there with me since I started prep, and my family. Like, all of you guys are the reasons basically why I am where I am today, and that is happy. So thank you again, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.